Hello and welcome to the channel. I hope you're all well. At this time of the year, many anglers in Spain bridge the gap of the trout seasons with barbel fishing. And during October, November, December, the rivers are generally in perfect condition for spotting barbel and fishing for them. So today I'm going to tie a couple of flies that are suitable for barbel fishing, but also suitable for trout fishing, especially in the early part of the season. In the vise I have a size 12 strong round bend hook with a 3.3 copper bead, and I'm using beige thread, which I will just wind down the shank and around the bend like so. And I'm going to use some copper wire for the rib, and this is quite a strong copper wire. It's about 0.20, so I'll just tie that in. Like so. And bind it down along the shank, back up to the bead, back down again. And for the body I'm going to use some olive dyed cock pheasant tail. So I'm going to take off 8 or 9 fibres and just trim them off of the feather. And tie them in. At the tip. And bind down the tips. And just try and even up the body a little before I wind on the pheasant tail. Just take your time, wind it up the shank. Now, if you want to use hackle pliers for this, that's entirely up to you. And trim off the excess fibres. And bind those down. Just tighten up that bead a little. And wind on the copper wire in the opposite direction. Hold these in place, these fibres. Now this is going to be fished pretty well along the river bottom. Barbel have their mouths situated pointing downwards, as they are mainly bottom feeders. That is not to say that they don't take a fly off the top either, but they are generally bottom feeders. Just wind that off, like so. Just tighten up this bead a little bit more. Right, now for the collar, I'm going to use some UV cinnamon coloured hare's ear. Now this has already got flash in it, so it has some very good qualities. Just dab that on. Try and create an even rope. Wind that on. And you'll probably have to tighten this up as you go along. It's quite a big collar because it will be brushed out Before I tie it off, I'm just going to put some glue onto the thread. And tie off the thread. Like so. Trim up the tying thread. Now to brush this out. This will create extra movement, and the cinnamon colour will be an attractor. And there you go, very simple tying, and that is the first tying finished. So I'll just take that out. And I've already mounted a bead for the second tying. Same hook, size 12, and on this occasion I'm going to be using black thread, 6/0 thread. So I'll just put this back on, like so, and trim off the excess. And wind that down around the bend of the hook as I did on the first fly. Right, now for the rib I'm going to use some thread, and this is a light olive thread, and I'm going to actually fold that over a couple of times to create a thicker rib. Try and marry up those ends. Right. I'm going to tie that in. Bind it down along the hook shank. Just cover that with thread wraps. The whole body will be covered, so it's not a real problem. Now the body material is going to be some ice UV dubbing in black, which I will dub onto the thread. Let me just put the rib in the spring. Just dub that on. And wind on the dubbing, twisting it to keep it nice and tight. Right, I'm going to put a little bit more dubbing on there just to finish off the body. Like so. And I'm going to twist this thread to make it almost a single strand. Wind it on in the opposite direction. And tie that off. And trim up the thread. I'm just going to straighten up the vise again because it moved then. And now we are going to put a collar on this, and I'm going to use some grey ostrich herl. Again, take off a few fibres. 4 fibres should be sufficient, 4 or 5. That's 3, 4. Just tear those off. And we're going to tie those in at the tips. Trim off the excess. And twist these fibres to create a rope and wind them on as a collar. I think that should be sufficient. And tie that down. And trim off the excess. We're now going to brush out the ice dubbing. Give it that bit of movement. Right, before I tie this off, I'm just going to put some glue on the thread. And there you have the second fly finished. As I said, these can also be used for trout, but they are principally tied for barbel fishing. I have no doubt they could be used for carp also, if that is your style of fishing during these winter months. Thanks very much for viewing. I hope you enjoyed the tying. Do give it a like if you feel it's worthy. Pass a comment. If you're not already a subscriber, hit the bell. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.